Hi, my friend Calvin here. Today I would like to continue to talk about Canadian housing market. Today's topic is about Vancouver housing market. In the last few videos, I talked about Toronto housing market and Calgary housing market. If you're interested, you can find their links in the description below, or you can find them in my channel. Also, don't forget to destroy the like button below and smash the subscribe button if you haven't. Let's get started without further ado. We read monthly and weekly reports generated by local real estate boards, which I think are more reliable than reading news. Today I'd like to use monthly report generated by Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver. I myself lived in Vancouver about 5 years, going to school there, and I think I know the place quite well. When I went there in 2012, the real estate there just started heating up. And over the 5 years when I was there, the housing market really went like a flying rocket. Not flying down, it was like a flying up rocket. By the time when I left the city, the residential home prices have been out of the atmosphere and out of a lot of people's considerations, especially for young people who just started working and wanted to purchase a detached home but have no financial support from their families. Unless your family owns a factory or your parents are celebrities or businessmen, there's no way you can afford a detached home in the center of Vancouver 5 years into your first job. There's no question about that when I left the city. Now, when I look at Vancouver housing price after 3 years, it's almost on the moon. I'm doing this video for those who have an option of purchasing a home in Vancouver and those who are probably wondering about Vancouver housing market, whether it's a detached home, townhouse, or apartment. Definitely not for me, no matter how beautiful the city is. For myself, I have eliminated that option quite early. This is a monthly report generated by Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver. Similar to our observation in Toronto and Calgary, it says that residential home sales in the Greater Vancouver grew a lot last year. I'm going to read some numbers from my cell phone. February sales this year is 3,727 units. It's about 73% higher than that in prior February and 56% higher than the prior months, January this year. And in the report, the chair of the board said that the supply of listings for sales is not keeping up with the demand we're seeing. Competition amongst homebuyers is causing multiple offers situations and upward pressure on prices. This is particularly true in the townhouse where demand is outstripping the available supply. And it also says that last month's new listing increased to 5,048. That's 26% higher compared to the same month last year. However, the total number of homes currently listed for sales in Metro Vancouver is 8,358 units. That's about 9% lower than that of the same month last year due to the growth in sales. And this made the sales to active listing ratio for February 2021 44.6%. This means that sales are 44.6% higher than active listing in the month. I don't know if you know this, but I learned that generally downward pressure on housing market occurs when the sales to active listing ratio is below 12% for a sustained period of time, and home prices experience upward pressure when it surpasses 20% over several months. And currently it's putting upward pressure on each of the property types. Detached home 42%, townhouse 62%, apartments 42% too. Again, similar to those reports that we read for Toronto and Calgary, this report says that low interest rate remains a key driver in today's market. We're seeing a steady number of first-time home buyers and move-up buyers entering the market. I myself started worrying about it. I know a big portion of these buyers have stretched their credit and maximized out their loans. I don't know the exact number. It works when the interest rate remains low. And it will be a problem when interest rates started going up after this pandemic. And if their incomes do not keep up, some of them will lose their jobs at some point in time. And default rates will rise along with the interest rates. I think it will cause an event similar to 2008 financial crisis, but in a significantly smaller scale. That's my prediction. It could be off by a lot. Let's see what's going to happen after about 3 years. What I learned from this is that never maximize out your loan credits. Even you and your spouse are quite confident in job security, and no matter how hard these loan salespersons try to convince you, keep in mind that these people work for themselves. Personally, I would prefer to use loan credit of one person instead of both. That way, even one of us loses the job or just can't work due to some unforeseeable reasons, we still can comfortably pay the loan without moving out to a cheaper place. Now, let's look at the average prices. And these are probably the most important numbers for potential buyers and potential sellers. The MLS Home Price Index composite benchmark prices for all residential properties in Metro Vancouver is $1,084,000, 6.8% increase over February 2020 and 2.6% increase over January 2021. And I remember in comparison, Toronto over the same period of time, the average housing price increased about 15% to $1.045 million. Obviously, the average price of Vancouver is higher than that of Toronto, but it did not increase as much as it did in Toronto over the same period of time. That makes sense because Vancouver housing price always increase before Toronto housing price increase. And it also says that less populated community continue to experience the largest year-over-year price increase across all property types, from 14% in Ladner to as high as 34% in Bowen Island. Now let's look at them by property types. I know buying a detached home in Vancouver is not my option, but I still would like to see. So let's start with detached home. Detached home sales increased the most by 80%, and the average price increased to $1.6 million, and it's about 14% increase from February 2020 and 2.8% increase compared to January 2021. When I was in Vancouver, the average price of detached home already passed $1 million, and now it's $1.6 million. That's crazy. Sales of the apartment homes increased by 66%, but the benchmark price is about $700,000, 2.5% increase from February 2020. And I remember in comparison, Toronto apartment housing price dropped about 6.4% over the same period of time. And the attached home sales increased by about 82.4%, and the price is about $840,000, 7.2% increase from February 2020. This is a large increase too. Here's another interesting table. Over the past 10 years, the average price of Greater Vancouver increased by about 86%, whereas the lower mainland on the average increased about 95.3%, Coquitlam 107%. A few of my friends live there. By property types, detached home price in Greater Vancouver increased by about 88% and 104% in the lower mainland. Townhouse price increased by about 80% in Greater Vancouver and 85% in the lower mainland. Apartment price increased about 87% in the Greater Vancouver and 93% in the lower mainland. And that's pretty much it about Vancouver housing market for today. So the takeaway message from this video is that the average price of all property types in the Greater Vancouver is about $1.08 million. Detached home is about $1.6 million. Townhouse is about $840,000. Apartment is about $700,000. And that's all. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to leave your comments below and destroy the like button and smash the subscribe button if you haven't. As always, see you next time.